Cleveland Guardians pitcher Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz were charged with fraud, conspiracy, and bribery stemming from an alleged scheme to rig individual pitches that led to gamblers winning hundreds of thousands of dollars, according to indictment unsealed by prosecutors on Sunday. Hi, I'm Jeanette. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Guardians betting scandal. I'll give you some background and then I'll talk about the news that came out this morning, Sunday, November 9th, 2025. I want to start by saying that I pulled all this information from articles by the MLB, ESPN, and The Athletic. I will link those articles down below in my description. So let's start with who's involved. There are two Guardians pitchers involved in this scandal. The first one is Luis Ortiz, an opening pitcher. He was just traded from the Pirates last year in 2024. The second person is Emmanuel Clase. He's a 3-time All-Star and a 2-time reliever of the year. Prosecutors said that Clase arranged with a bettor as early as May 2023 to throw specific pitches for balls, so the gambler could place prop bets and profit. Ortiz joined the scheme in June 2025, and between the two, gamblers have won at least $450,000 wagering on their pitchers, while Clase and Ortiz were giving kickbacks for their participation. So I put together a little timeline just so that you have a little bit of background, and then I'll get into the news that came out today. In late June 2025, the Ohio Casino Control Commission was alerted to irregular betting activity on certain prop bets tied to Ortiz's outings. On June 27th, sportsbook and gambling operators were alerted after a spike in action on Ortiz's first pitch in the bottom of the second inning against the Seattle Mariners on June 15th, and in the top of the third inning against the St. Louis Cardinals on June 27th. In both cases, unusual amounts of money were wagered on the pitches being a ball or a hit from betting accounts in New York, New Jersey, and Ohio. Both pitches wound up well outside the strike zone. On July 3rd, both the MLB and the Guardians released a statement that stated that pitcher Luis Ortiz had been placed on non-disciplinary paid leave through the end of the All-Star break due to an MLB investigation, and neither the MLB or the Guardians were permitted to comment any further. The MLB All-Star break was from July 11th to July 15th this year. On July 15th, the MLB commissioner, Rob Manfred, said while he supports legal gambling because of transparency regulation, he was concerned about microbets, such as the ones that offer action on individual pitches. To me, that kind of sounded like foreshadowing, especially because he knew what was going on with the investigations. At this time, nobody really knew what was going on. We just knew that he was suspended for some reason. On July 18th, Luis Ortiz had his leave extended until August 31st. On July 28th, the Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase was placed on non-disciplinary paid leave as well through August 31st as a part of an MLB investigation into sports gambling. The Guardians released a statement that said that no additional players or club personnel are expected to be impacted by the investigation. So that's when it kind of began to get more serious. It wasn't just one pitcher at this point. Now we have Emmanuel Clase, and he's a good pitcher. He won reliever of the year a couple of times. This is bigger news than what it sounded like originally. On August 31st, the MLB announced that Clase and Ortiz will remain on non-disciplinary paid leave until further notice, while the league continues an investigation into sports gambling. And at this point, there were only 28 games in the regular season. I wasn't expecting them to come back. But after August 31st, I didn't really hear anything about this anymore. And by then, it was playoffs and then the World Series. So I honestly kind of forgot about it until this morning. The Athletic released an article titled Guardians Emmanuel Clase, Luis Ortiz, indicted of charges linked to illegal sports betting by Zach Meisel. So this article said that they have been on paid leave from the league since July and now face charges of wire fraud conspiracy, honest services wire fraud conspiracy, conspiracy to influence sporting contests by bribery, and money laundering conspiracy, all related to a scheme to predetermine certain pitches that netted bettors hundreds of thousands in winnings. Ortiz was arrested Sunday in Boston and will appear in court on Monday. Clase was not in custody as of early Sunday afternoon. He's out of the country, according to a law enforcement source. If convicted on all charges, the pitchers face up to 65 years in prison. 20 years for wire fraud conspiracy, 20 years for honest services wire fraud conspiracy, 5 years for conspiracy to influence sporting betting contests by bribery, and 20 years for money laundering conspiracy. The activity allegedly began with Clase in or around May of 2023. Ortiz joined in around June 2025. Clase's conspirators totaled more than $400,000 in winnings, and Ortiz totaled more than $60,000. Ortiz allegedly colluded with co-conspirators before his start on June 15th and June 27th to throw predetermined balls. According to the indictment, the bettors agreed to pay Ortiz $12,000 for throwing the rigged pitches and Clase $12,000 for arranging the ploy. Clase withdrew $50,000 in cash before the June 27th contest and sent $15,000 to a co-conspirator to wager on Ortiz's predetermined pitch. Then I saw this other article released by ESPN called Guardians, Emmanuel, Clase, Luis Ortiz indicted for pitch rigging by Jeff Passan. This article also had a little bit more information, so let's go through it. Prosecutors said in the indictment that Clase arranged with a bettor as early as May 2023 to throw specific pitches for balls so the gambler could place prop bets and profit. Ortiz joined the scheme in June 2025, and between the two, gamblers won at least $450,000 wagering on their pitches, while Clase and Ortiz were given kickbacks for their participation. In a 23-page indictment, prosecutors outlined a scheme perpetrated by Clase. Clase would regularly throw balls instead of strikes and sliders rather than cutters on the first pitch of at-bats, in which bettors would wager on the individual pitches to be balls or under a specific mile-per-hour threshold. Clase provided money to bettors to gamble on his behalf, texted with bettors during games, and later was joined in the scheme by Ortiz. The earliest example came in May 19, 2023, a game between the Guardians and the New York Mets, in which Clase relayed information that he would throw a pitch faster than 94.95 miles per hour. Bettors won $27,000 on that pitch. Weeks later, bettors added a leg to a parlay for a pitch to be a ball slower than 94.95 miles per hour and won $38,000 when Clase spiked a slider at least 5 feet in front of home plate. Ortiz's involvement started June 15, 2025, when he agreed with Clase that he would be paid $5,000 to throw the first pitch of the second inning for a ball. Clase received $5,000 for organizing the alleged fraud. Two bettors wagered a total of $13,000 on the pitch. Ortiz received a payment of 90,000 Dominican pesos, about $1,400. Clase directed him to lie about the purpose of the money if asked and say this payment is for a horse. On June 27th, Ortiz agreed to throw the first pitch of the third inning for a ball in exchange for $7,000. Bank security footage captured Clase withdrawing $50,000 in cash, of which he gave $15,000 to one of the bettors, who was in Cleveland that day, to wager on the pitch. The bettors placed $18,000 on the pitch, which was far outside the strike zone. So now here's the crazy part. Clase has made more than $12 million over a major league career that has spanned 7 seasons, and he was scheduled to make $6.4 million in 2026. So I don't understand why he even got himself involved. $5,000 is nothing in that grand scheme of things. Ortiz made $782,600 in 2025. So, I mean, he made less, but that's still a decent amount of money. It's kind of sad that 2 pitchers just threw away their entire careers just to make a little bit of money. I don't know. This is just really crazy, and I am interested to see where this goes. We'll see what happens. I'll be following this story, and if there's any updates, I'll post an update. But if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.